The 3.5-inch MagneRide suspension lift we have here is for any 14 or newer Sierra Denali owner looking to pick up a suspension lift in order to gain more ground clearance to become more capable off-roading, while also getting up to 33-inch tires to fit under the wheel wells and picking up a very rugged and aggressive exterior look. This is a more premium kit specifically made for the guys out there with the Denali models, and obviously you're getting all the bare necessities, the lift block, strut spacer, skid plate, but you're also going to pick up a set of new upper control arms with upper ball joints from MOOG. Because of this premium kit, expect to be spending around the $500 mark, and the install is very, very involved. Expect a full 3 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter here, and I'll detail that later on in the video, but know up front here it's going to require a lot of cutting and grinding. Taking a look at the things actually involved in this kit, you should expect just a little bit more included from Rough Country than the bare bones necessities. What I mean by that is you should expect some differential drop spacers in order to help you maintain the proper axle angle. You're also going to pick up a differential skid plate for some added protection, and you're going to get, of course, which is more bare necessities, the lift blocks here, which are fabricated, making them actually a lot more durable than the factory cast options. Now, in addition to all that good stuff I just mentioned, you're picking up a couple of upper control arms with upgraded ball joints from a company known as MOOG, who has been making suspension and steering quality parts for generations. Now, these options are very easy to maintain and come with 2 powder metal gusher bearings with greased grooves, which help to keep the most durable wear surface possible. It's also got a sealed boot design with grease relief valves, which help to keep the sealed yet easily maintainable housing free from any dirt or dust. I do want to point out here, if you're shopping around for a lift kit for your Sierra Denali, there are tons of different options available, especially from Rough Country. A suspension lift like this one, I said it once, I'll say it again here, makes you more capable off-roading because of the additional ground clearance. In addition to that, you're getting bigger wheels and tires, of course. You'll be able to fit up to 33-inch tires. And finally, you get that off-road appearance. The body lifts, however, you see out there will do all of the above except for make you more capable off-roading because it doesn't lift your frame off the ground. You want to keep that in mind, so if you're doing a lot of off-roading, a suspension lift is probably the way you want to go. You can of course combine suspension and body lifts together to get the biggest lift possible, which can also cut down on some money, but you also want to make sure you're picking and choosing properly. Now that brings me to my next point. Since this one does offer all the necessities you need to lift it, with the additional suspension quality upgrades, you're definitely going to be spending just a little bit more, making this kit more premium than some of the other Rough Countries, coming in right around the $500 mark. If you know Rough Country, they typically do make very budget-friendly parts out there, so if you feel that you do not need or are not going to really reap the benefits of the upgraded ball joints and upper control arms, you can definitely do without those and pick up another Rough Country kit, save you some money in the long run. Shifting over to the install portion of the video, as I mentioned in the very beginning, there is some cutting and trimming required. You're just going to be trimming away a fin of the differential housing to gain some extra clearance for the parts. Aside from that, have a ratchet and socket set on deck, a mallet or hammer for the knuckle, and I'd recommend a paint can just to cover up where you're trimming to prevent any rust. From there, it should take around 4 to 5 hours from start to finish, and I definitely give it a full 3 out of 3 wrenches on our difficulty meter. First thing you want to do, get the truck in the air at the front end, of course, supported on jack stands, remove the wheels and tires. Once that's taken care of, just remove the bolts holding on the front skid plate, then disconnect all connectors from the power steering lines. Once that's taken care of, you can disconnect the front sway bar end links and then use a mallet or hammer to disconnect the front upper control arms from the knuckle. Now, when reinstalling the new upper control arms, you want to make sure you're installing those in the exact same position as the factory ones. From here, you can remove the factory front strut and disconnect the factory cross member. From here, you want to support the front differential with a jack stand, of course, remove the bolts and then lower it down enough to place the new aluminum differential spacers into place. You want to make sure you're following the directions detailed in the manual here to follow the measurements required for cutting the factory cross member to length. Then of course doing the exact same thing for the cooling fins on the differential. From here, you want to install the upper strut mount on top of the strut and then reinstall that into the factory mounting location. From there, cut the bump stop and apply some of that paint I mentioned earlier to prevent some rust. Once you reinstall the strut to the mount, take care of the sway bar, the knuckle to the lower control arm, as well as the tie rod end. From there, reconnect all of the things you disconnect during this process because you're going to wrap up the front. So the rears are going to be a lot simpler. So once the front's taken care of and you've repeated it for the opposite side, jack the rear end up, of course, supported on jack stands, and remove the wheels. Once you have that taken care of, you can lower the frame down a little bit, supported on jack stands, of course, remove the factory cast blocks, replace them with the fabricated options, and then of course replace factory U-bolts with the extended one to compensate for the lift. Once you have that taken care of and everything is bolted down, put the truck back on the ground and enjoy your lift. Just to wrap things up here, if you're the owner of a 2014 or newer Sierra Denali, you might want to check out the Rough Country 3.5-inch MagneRide suspension lift available right here at AmericanTrucks.com.